look, listen, okay? I bought some books. Hello everyone, welcome back to A Fictional Escapist. My name is Kris, and today's video is a small-ish book haul. So when we arrived to Perth, Rachel and I needed to go and get some necessities because all our stuff is still in storage at the moment. We have bought a house, so eventually it will come out of storage, but we've still got another month. And I was like, I can't wait another month to have my books. So I went and bought the necessities, the clothes, and then I went to the bookshop and things just happened. I've also been sent a couple of things by some wonderful human beings, and then I went into another bookshop and I bought more books. So it's not a huge haul. I think we've got somewhere between 15 and 20 to go through today, but it is enough to basically give you a look at some things that I've bought. Because I am just going to bookshops, a lot of these are traditionally published. I think I only have one that is indie, but that will change in the next book haul, fingers crossed, which will have a lot of broken binding stuff, which is staying at a friend's house at the moment because I shipped it there. And he keeps texting me being like, hey, another book has arrived. So there will be a bigger book haul coming at some point in the future. But book hauls on this channel, just as a forewarning and for transparency, will very likely stop or become once a quarter or once every 6 months because we have plans this year. Buying a house was not one of them, but it's now been done. And potentially also Rachel dropping to self-employment, which means that we need to be very tight with money, which is fine because you want to be happy in your life. This is just a side tangent rant. Money does not equal happiness. If you are happier with less money, doing something you absolutely love, go ahead and do it because just do it. Just do it. Money and everything. Anyway, I say that like you didn't just spend $400 on books, and I'm about to show you. These are in no particular order, so some of these have been sent, some of these I have gone and picked up myself, and one box, so there's a box of 10 books on the floor, which I'll bring up in a minute. I went to a fantastic bookstore in Perth called Stepan's. He is a sci-fi, fantasy, horror, historical fiction specific bookstore. It is one of the only genre-specific bookstores that Australia still has, and I would rather go and spend more money there. Ironic, just because of what I said, but I would rather pay a couple of extra bucks per book to keep some of these indie bookstores alive. That being said, a lot of these are traditionally published because I've been buying them from bookstores, but hopefully my next haul, I think I've already said this, but my next haul should be more indie focused. So these are in no particular order. I will try and start with the two that I have been sent from authors, and then I've got a couple of gifts which we'll go through. One of them you'll laugh at, and that's fine. I've already committed to you laughing at me. So the first one I'm going to show off here is The Rest to the Gods. This is by Joshua Walker. This is a fantastic novella, and I was lucky enough to get one signed by the author. He sent me this. Thank you so much, Joshua. It's always so beautiful and special when an author sends you a book. This is a fellow Aussie. I've chatted to him a couple of times. Just a fantastic guy, and the leader of the Break-Ins. So if you've heard of the Break-Ins, they are doing some fantastic stuff, and hopefully I'll be interviewing them on the Before We Go blog before too long. Now, another author, and this may be my favorite author discovery of 2024, and I know it's only February at the time of filming, probably March by the time this comes out, and this is Harrow by Lucas Lex de Jong. This is a chunky beast of a folklore atmospheric horror, and it was fantastic. This one was sent to me by the author with a handwritten note in the front, which is lovely. It's also got his signature in here, and and I had a book plate that fell out, but it's got the signature in there. So this was orchestrated by Louise Holland, who wrote Spark of the Divine, and her good friend Lucas, and I'm very thankful to both of you. But if you like horror and you want something that's not Stephen King, maybe favorite author discovery of 2024, I definitely plan on picking something else up by Lucas before the year is out. Then we'll move on to some gifts that I have received. This one is Siddhartha. I butchered that, and I'm aware of it. You can all laugh at me down below. This is by Herman Hesse or Herman Hesse. This is a book that a good friend of mine, Ryan, read in a book club, and they really enjoyed it, and they thought that I might enjoy it as well. So it is a nice short one. I don't know very much about this at all, except it is beautiful, and they loved it. I also know they enjoy some of those philosophical reads as well, and I also enjoy those. So I picked that one up. Now, this is the one that probably will shock people that I'm actually interested in reading it, because I'm just not a romance reader. I have read period dramas before though, and I've enjoyed them in the past. But a friend of mine from work sent me Outlander as a present for arriving in Perth. So she's been reading this book for many a moon, and I think she's read them before, but she was doing like a reread, and I was just morbidly curious. So we had a bit of a giggle, and she sent me that, and I've committed to reading at least the first book. And then I went into a bit of a horror kick, and there's some more in that box down there, which I'll bring up in a minute. And I went and did a little bit of a horror bookshop. So the first one that I picked up that I have read is The Salt Grows Heavy by Cassandra Cole. This is probably my first 5-star read of the year. This is fantastic. This is almost like a Little Mermaid retelling if The Little Mermaid was brutal body horror with poetic prose. So take that as you will. I adore their writing. I think it is so beautifully poetic. It flows, it's vivid, which it just adds to the horror elements of it. And I thought it was fantastic, but not for the faint of heart. The next one I picked up, because Colin from Colin's Corner won't shut up about this author, and that's fine. Colin, you've influenced me to buy a book, and this is My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. Just make sure you are checking your trigger warnings, because I did have to put it down for a little bit as I read that. That's just a personal thing, you know, not everyone has gone through something like that before. But what I will say is this read very easily, it read very well. It is a fantastic look at mental health and just how all-consuming it can be. So it was wrapped up in a horror, and I think it was executed very well, very easy to read. But yes, check your trigger warnings, because I didn't before I went in. The next one I picked up is another favorite horror author of mine, and I say that having read only one of their works. So, big call. This is The Trees Grew Because I Bled There by Eric LaRocca. Now, I have really enjoyed what I've read of Eric LaRocca so far. I have another couple on my Kindle, but I've been seeing this hardback sort of everywhere, and I've stopped being such a snob when it comes to buying novellas. So I'm just going to buy what I want to buy instead of being like, that's $30 on 100 pages. So I'm looking forward to reading this. Eric has a full novel coming out this year, which I'm very much looking forward to, and will probably throw my TBR at the window when that comes. And the next one I picked up was not really planned, but this is the sequel to City of Dusk, and this is The Midnight Kingdom by Tara Sim. I really enjoyed The City of Dusk. It was a fun fantasy romp. It was queer normative. It was gods among men, and it was just a lot of fun. So I picked up the second one. I don't know when I'm going to get to this, but I'm hoping that if I just keep mood reading, potentially this could come up, but it's also a beautiful cover, and I already have book one. And a friend of mine wants to read it, so I was like, hey, I have it. Don't bother buying it. Which brings us to this box of books that I have. Oh, Rachel bought these. These are not mine, but they're on the screen, so you can see them. They are not from my book haul. Now that the box has been opened, we will continue on with some horror books that I bought. So I bought Maeve Fly by CJ Lead, which I've been told is American Psycho meets Disney Princess. So they can't say this person's playing Elsa from Frozen at a Disney park, but it's insinuated, and it just captivated my attention. It says, by day, Maeve Fly works the happiest place in the world as every child's favorite ice princess. By the neon night glow of the Sunset Strip, Maeve haunts the dive bars with a drink in one hand and a book in the other, imitating her misanthropic literary heroes. But when Gideon Green, her best friend's brother, moves to town, he awakens something dangerous within her, and the world she knows suddenly shifts beneath her feet. Untethered, Maeve ditches her discontented act and tries on a new persona, the bolder, bloodier one inspired by the pages of American Psycho. So beside Patrick Bateman, it's Maeve's turn with the knife. It sounds wild, so I picked that one up. The next one I picked up was Camp Damascus. This is by Chuck Tingle. I've not read anything by Chuck Tingle before, but I am very intrigued. I've heard some interesting things about this one. I think this is potentially about a conversion camp. And I've heard some good things. So I picked that one up. And this was a cover by, well, this next book was a cover by, but I also, one of my favorite authors. So it was just a no-brainer for me. And this is The Dead Take the A Train. Check that out. Isn't that insane? The neon, the horrific cover. I cannot wait to pick this one up. And it will probably be sooner rather than later if my mood continues the way that it is going. Another book that I was influenced to buy was the Sea of Rust by C. Robert Cargill. A few people are reading this one at the moment and have really, really enjoyed it. The bookseller, so Stepan, really enjoyed this one and was like, if you're going to pick up a dystopian sci-fi, then give this one a go. So I do love a bit of dystopia, so I grabbed that one. Now this next book, I have seen in every bookstore I've gone to, and I've picked it up in every bookstore that I've gone to, and I just haven't grabbed it. And I thought, now is the time. I'm here, I've seen it for the 400th time, and I'm going to give it a go. And that is The Book of Sand by Mo Hader. So if anyone's read this one, please let me know. It's desert-based. I believe it's fantasy. I think it's got some horror elements or thriller elements in there. My eyeballs keep gravitating towards it. So it says a hostile world of burning sun. Outlines of several once busy cities shimmer on the horizon, and in the distance, a group of people, a family, walk towards us. Ahead lies shelter, which they know they must reach before the light falls, as to be out after dark is to invite danger and almost certain death. To survive in this alien world of shifting sand, they must find an object hidden in or near water, but other families want it too, and they are willing to fight for it. And you know that you may have to kill just to stay alive. Sounds great. I am looking forward to that one. The next two are a couple of books that have been on my radar for a while, and if I haven't talked about the series starters yet, it's coming, and these are two on my list of series that I want to start at some point. And this is Theft of Swords by Michael J. Sullivan, the book, I think it's volume 1, but books 1 and 2 of the Rhaenyra Revelations that are in this one, and the second one is going to be Empire in Black and Gold by Adrian Tchaikovsky. So I've heard some good things about these series. They've been on my radar for a very long time, but because I read mainly indie, I don't tend to gravitate towards a lot of trad pub, but these are two that I wanted to read for ages. So they are going on the list for the series starters. A local author to Perth that comes in and signs books occasionally, and I was like, well, that's pretty cool. I'm going to pick that up, is Jemery Zal. This is Stormblood, and the cover is also cool as well. Vakov Vukasawa used to be a Reaper, an elite soldier fighting for harmony against the brutal invading Harvester Empire. I don't know very much about this one, but I like the cover, and local author, you got to support the locals. It looks sci-fi. If anyone's read this one, let me know what you think. Now, I've recently seen Books with Brittany rave about this one, and I really do trust Books with Brittany's sci-fi recommendations. She has not led me astray yet, so I picked up Paradise 1, and this is by David Wellington. I watched her gush about it, and then I was like, I best read that. Saw it in the store, and I was like, well, it'd be rude not to. Release. This is Welcome to Paradise. Paradise 1, Earth's first deep space colony. For thousands of people, it was an opportunity for a new life. Until it went dark. No communication has been received from the colony for months. It falls to Firewatch agent Alexandra Petrova and the crew of the Artemis to investigate why. What they find is more horrifying than they could have imagined. Paradise 1 begins a terrifying new series of survival and exploration in deep space from Arthur C. Clarke Award-nominated author David Wellington. Wow, it's a big sentence. Horror, sci-fi, I'm in. And the last one that I picked up was a cover by, and it was one of those books that I saw, I picked up, I put back, but I went back to it 2 or 3 times while I was there. And we were in this store for a while because I am who I am as a person. I'm pretty sure Rachel lost the will to live, but she let me stay in there. And this is The Tiger's Daughter by Kay Arsenault Rivera. Kay Arsenault Rivera. And it just looks stunning. Look at that artwork. This camera is not going to do its justice at all, but it looks beautiful. And I I don't know what's drawn me to it. They had the whole trilogy. I'm trying to just buy book ones in case I don't like them because Anne McCaffrey's work has proven that I shouldn't have bought a trilogy. Um, yeah, I don't know. V. Schwab has the quote on the back, so I've not read any of V. Schwab either. It says a poison that spreads across an ancient land. The Hakaran Empire has conquered every land within their bold reach using the combination of imperial might and sabotage to devastate and subjugate the nomadic Koran tribes. Generations later, the decaying imperial line has led to rampant corruption and ruined fields, and worst of all, the demons once kept at bay by the Hakaran Emperor have taken advantage of the crumbling protection of border walls and have begun to overrun villages and forests. But against all odds, a destined pair of warriors rise from the ashes, the last hope of a devastated people and a fractured nation. This is the story of Basilia, Shifali, and O Shizuka, who are unafraid to face the demons. They will save their world and become legends, or they will die trying. So again, if someone has read this, please let me know. But I was floored by the artwork. I think it's so beautiful. But those were the books that I've picked up since being in Perth. Well, not all the books. I've got some broken binding stuff at other people's houses. I've got some stuff I'm not going to pick up until April, potentially June or August when I'm back in Brisbane, that I've gone to other people's houses, some Kickstarters, things like that. So there will be another haul at some point in the future. But what was your favorite of the books that I've picked out? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like the content, give one of those. And if you want to see more of it, please click subscribe at your will. And I will catch you in the next video. Ciao.